Hey everybody, it's Maria from What's the Story with Maria. How's it going? Welcome to episode 34 of What's the Story with Maria. We are so glad you're here. And I want to remind everybody, we are an Armed Radio. You can listen to us live on armeddigitalmedia.com, armedglobalmedia.com. Those are the two places you can listen. Leo Rodriguez has joined us. Oh my goodness. Edie Gershman. Hi, Edie. Jeffrey Campbell. So what I'm doing right now at the beginning, if you're listening on the radio, is we're also Facebook Living. So we are acknowledging our friends that are coming on and checking in with us on Facebook. So that's why you'll hear me throughout the show call out people. So if you are watching on Facebook and you want to share this video right now, or whenever you come on, please feel free to share it onto your pages, and then it will run on your page and you can watch it there as well. So Jeffrey Campbell, again, Alex Rushin. Hi, Alex. Christopher Crosby. Hi, sweetheart. So many nice people join us every week. This week, I have Judy Mesa is with us. Say hi, Judy.
Hi, everybody.
Judy Mesa, our Cuban representative, and Juan Gil is here. He is our Colombian representative. And I can't tell you, tonight we have Colombian food. Judy picked it up. Where'd you get it? In Jersey, right?
Yep. Noches de Colombia.
Noches de Colombia.
I've heard good things about that place.
Yes, which means Nights of Colombia, right?
Right.
It's such a good restaurant. So Judy picked up the Colombian food tonight. I could smell it. It's delicious. So I can't wait to eat. Catherine Salvio has joined us. Kimberly Hicks, yay.
Leo Rodriguez.
Leo Rodriguez is waving. Curle. Hi, everybody. All right. So Judy's been on the show before, and she's popped her head in a few times. So Judy is going to be our political commentator tonight. We have a lot of great things that we want to talk about. It was actually Judy's idea to come on and talk about these things, and it's perfect. So I asked Juan to come on the show. I wanted to have Juan at some point, but I asked Juan to come on the show because there are not many people that can neutralize the energy of Judy Mesa. Judy Mesa is a ball of fire, and Juan, her brother in crime,
my brother from another mother.
Brother from another mother, right? Is they've just been friends for years, and they're funny together and wonderful. So Juan, first of all, I want to welcome you. Thank you for coming to our show.
Thank you, Maria.
Big round of applause for Juan Gil, everybody. Juan Gil. And to your family who is watching, they're in Florida right now, right?
Correct.
Tampa. And then Louise is in Oklahoma?
Correct.
Okay, so we're going to explain to you who these people are in a minute. So when I first met Juan, I met Juan as a singer. And he has a very distinctive, deep, beautiful, rich voice. Juan is very tall. You can't tell here because he's just sitting down, but Juan is a very tall person.
Sitting on the floor.
Yes, he's actually in a little tiny baby chair because he's so tall. But so you notice Juan right away.
Giant.
He's a big guy. You notice him right away, and then he has this very deep, distinctive voice, and that's what you notice about him. However, what I love about Juan, besides those two things, is that he's one of the kindest people I've ever met. Ever. Juan is a straight up amazing human being.
Yep.
So I want to thank Juan's parents and Louise for all those great
Absolutely.
raising
and
of
Juan.
and Juan, right, and his sisters. See, I asked Juan once. He is the youngest. You're the youngest, right,
Correct.
Juan?
Yes.
How many sisters you have?
Two sisters.
Two sisters, and you're the baby,
Correct.
right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this was really funny because one time Judy was throwing a fit. She was in a bad mood. And I was telling Juan, Judy's in a bad mood because he's like, of course she is because she's cleaning, which I don't understand. But this is a Latin thing, right? You said that's how my sisters get. So explain that to me, Juan.
Well, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, we're still dealing with a lot of the sexist, so chauvinistic things in Latin America where women are the ones who clean. But they're very anal retentive about cleaning, and they get in a mood when they're cleaning. They love to clean. They find it really satisfying.
Yeah, actually, I really do.
Yeah,
I know.
It's the craziest thing.
But Judy, it's true. When Judy cleans, she gets in a really bad mood, and then Christina has to move out of the. I have to move, and the dogs. Maybe the dogs are like,
if they
don't
could
know
make it
what's
disappear, they would make it disappear.
So it's like that. All right, and Juan explained this phenomenon to me of the Latin woman being in a bad mood when she's cleaning. So thank you, Juan, for explaining that to me.
Even though they like cleaning. Maybe it's not they don't like cleaning. They like things organized and clean.
Right. So what makes us in a bad mood is when there's people when you're cleaning and someone's dirty.
Especially if you're mopping. If you're mopping the floor.
If you're mopping.
Don't step on the.
If you're cleaning the counter and someone's eating cookies and crumbles all over.
Who does that?
If you're cleaning the counter and then there's a coffee machine that's actually a Keurig that then someone makes coffee, and I don't know how coffee gets on the counner. It's a Keurig. Like
all right.
It dribbles a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
So Juan explained this phenomenon of rage while cleaning and all that stuff. So Juan, how old were you when you came here from Colombia?
15.
15. So we just talked about this. Juan, you told me you are a
dreamer.
Juan is a dreamer. So if you've people out there that are watching Facebook Live, if you don't know the face of a dreamer, that is the face of a dreamer.
Look at this face.
Look at that face.
Amazing,
Right.
gorgeous face.
So sometimes politically speaking, we hear terms, on political shows, and we don't know exactly what that means. But this is a gentleman that came over as a young man at 15, and you finished high school here, right?
Correct.
So you went to high school where?
Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Cassidy School. Go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones. All right. Stephen Elbell has joined us. Vincent Palumbo. Hi, Vincent Palumbo. How are you, honey? Cynthia Nathan. Hi, Cindy. Tom Greenleaf has joined us. So now Oklahoma, you used to say to me, oh, that's my Colombian mom, and then Louise is my American mom. And I didn't know what that meant. So please explain. You came here from Colombia, and Louise explain what that meant.
Right. So I was sort of a exchange student,
Okay.
except nobody went on my behalf to Colombia. And I just ended up staying, basically. Moved here without my family and needed a place to stay. And Louise became my mom.
And how did you meet Louise? She's
through
wonderful.
through my oldest sister. She actually was the first one to move to Oklahoma City. Went to college in Oklahoma City to play basketball.
Oh,
Got a scholarship,
really?
Yeah. And Louise was in the part of the Rooster
Let's
Club.
a shout out to your sister. What's her name?
Adriana.
Adriana. She played basketball for Oklahoma City, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, she's lovely. And so Louise, that's how you knew Louise, and she adopted you,
Yeah,
right?
basically, everything but, it was, we didn't sign the papers, but she became my parent, my provider, I lived with her, my educator.
And she loves you very much.
I mean, yeah,
When
she
she
treats
came
me
to
like
visit,
her son, and she refers to me as her son, and like I said, I refer to her as my mom, my
yep,
American mom.
you have always said that, my American mom. And she's so proud of you. When she watched, I took a picture of her when she came to visit. You were singing, and I took a picture of her watching you. It was a beautiful picture, and she was so proud of you. So
She loves your music.
Oh, I
she
love her.
loves your music.
Well,
She
she's a
talks about you all the
sweetheart.
time.
And so, Louise, a shout out to you and your opening your heart and your home to Juan. And he's such a great guy. And so, Juan, you came here. You went to high school here. Did you speak English when you came here?
The basics, I wasn't as fluent, but I always pretty much had the accent down.
Right.
Okay. I struggled a little bit, but Louise actually had me read the newspaper out loud every night.
Wow.
And that's how I became better and more comfortable at reading and
Amazing.
enunciating and tone and all that stuff.
And then what happened from there, Juan? Like then you went to college?
Correct. Yeah. So I graduated. Was very fortunate. I had a full scholarship at Cassidy School.
So how did you get that full scholarship?
Well, a combination of basketball and academics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then after that, I graduated and went to school in Oklahoma City as well, and had a full scholarship as well. That was complete, all academics, and also I was involved in student government, and did my 4 years, and then I moved to New York. Actually, just had my 10th anniversary last year.
So you moved to New York before having a job, or you already had a job?
I moved to New York because of the job.
Correct. So
yeah.
talk about that.
I got hired by KPMG,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the big four accounting firms.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a finance and econ major in college.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just want to stop for a second. I want to go back and tell you again, this is a dreamer. This is when you hear dreamers and they're trying to take something from you. This is an example of a dreamer that was brought here, that excelled, that did well in athletics and got a scholarship. So when was recruited it's one of the top firms.
There's only four top accounting firms and firms. I'm sorry, and KPMG is one of them. The other one is Duluth. The other one is
Deloitte. Just went blank, as you know this.
Yeah, me too.
Ernst & Young.
Ernst & Young. That's right.
I can't remember the other.
All right, so but that's the point. The point.
PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And those are the ones that do the Oscars. That's why they're always like right.
Correct.
So, okay, wonderful. And then, but So these are all wonderful things that happened to you, and it's no one handed you anything. You had to work for all these things, right?
Definitely. I mean,
yeah, you have to. That's just such a huge misconception. You actually have to work twice as hard, because if you don't have like a residency or a citizenship, but you have talent, which that's what they call when you do well in school and you have good and you're in good academic standing and you excel. Firms that hire you say that you have talent.
Right.
So when you have talent, these firms need to sponsor you for you to work for them, because you're not a citizen of the United States. So in order for them to do that, you have to be like not just top of your class. You have to, right, Juan?
yeah,
You have to be like a genius. So
I don't know about a genius.
well, you're pretty smart. We have conversations about everything, and he knows. You're a very smart guy.
You're both very smart. I love.
So that's why it's so ridiculous when they talk about, when they talk about.
I know, and that's why I wanted to. But I really am a true believer that people are good, basically good. They're just sometimes people are uninformed, as I am uninformed about lots of things, and I can only get better if I listen to others. So that's why I wanted to. Well, Judy too. Judy's idea to come back on the show as a political commentator, because she's very knowledgeable in that field. And now I want to talk about your schooling, because you were born in Cuba.
Right.
You came here at what age?
2.
Well, you went to Spain first, right? And then came here.
So at that time, my father's side of the family already lived here. And so at that time, when you left Cuba, you had to be granted a visa to leave, blah, blah, blah. Then you went to a third country and waited for your residency to become finalized. And then, so I had family here that in New York that was already doing all of that paperwork for my father, my mother, and myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had to pay the, astronomical fees at the time. It was 1979. So whatever that cost then, which, it was quite some money.
Yeah.
And then we got our residency, and then in 1979 it was finalized, and then we were able to move here, and we moved to New Jersey. And so we were all residents, and then we became citizens. And then my mother had 3 more kids here in the United States. And then I went to school, but I was kind of like a late bloomer. I didn't really, I went to high school. I was like an okay student. I wasn't bad. I wasn't great. Then I went to college for 2 years, and then I wasn't interested. I had no structure. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I kind of dropped out. I didn't do much for a few years, and then I went back to school, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do, but I just Googled a lot, like what would be lucrative, because by this time I have a child to raise, and I just was interested in being able to support myself financially and have financial freedom. And so because
you were also a singer as well. That was, no, you're a great singer.
So I got a bachelor's in accounting and finance, very similar to Juan. And then
They're just copying me.
Yep.
Yeah, she's following you on. And now, wait, you've gone back for your master's though now,
and
right?
now I am in school getting an MBA, Master's of Business Administration. I'll be done next May. And then I am planning in December to apply to Harvard for a PhD in economics.
Unbelievable.
And that'll hopefully happen. I'll be accepted for the following fall. And that's it.
Okay, so it's important that everybody has a story, and the same thing. My parents came here from Italy, and they were sponsored too, because they had family that was here. My uncle Joe was here, and
we're drinking our wine and these cups.
Yeah, I know. Oh, okay, there it is. And so people sponsor. That's how it happens. And I heard somebody the other day. It was actually the guy that was the plumber that was fixing my bathroom said to my super, who was Dominican and an amazing person, he said, hey, you guys speak English. And I thought, I was so angry. And I'll tell you why I was angry. Because my super knows everything about this building. He can do the electrical, he can do the plumbing, he can do the carpentry, everything. He's the most wonderful guy. And this plumber couldn't figure out what he was doing. So he was like under the gun. And I thought to myself, wow, he's like picking on my super but my super speaks English and Spanish. And this plumber just spoke English. And I thought it's one of my resentments, and I have to get it off my my chest. I hate when people say, you're in America now, you should speak English. I am so impressed. You have to remember, people that come here do learn English, and they know their language. And like, we were in a Chinese restaurant the other day, and the Chinese, the owner was speaking Spanish on the phone, taking orders in Spanish, because the guy spoke Spanish. He spoke to us in English, and he spoke to his workers in Mandarin. And I thought, I'm impressed with that. So when I have a resentment when people say, you're in America now, speak English. If I go to France, I'm not going to burst into French. I'm going to expect them to speak English. That's how Americans, we tend to be. We have a little more of that sense of entitlement. Like, I mean, I'm here, I'm spending money, you better speak English. So I think I just want to put that out there. Usually when people say things like that, it's because they feel insecure, they feel intimidated. So the best thing you can do if you're worried about people not speaking English in your country is learn to speak a second language.
Or a third.
Or a third. You speak Italian as well. So I speak English, I speak Italian, and I try to speak as much Spanish as I can. I'm not great at it, but I try. And so and I feel more and more open to the world the more languages I learn. You know, I took French in high school. You took French in high school.
I don't know any.
But at least if we see something written, we can figure it out. So I just wanted to put that out there because it's one of my big pet peeves. And I automatically go and think about my family, and that anybody picking on them for speaking Italian would make me crazy. So anyway, I wanted to say that. So Juan, I want to talk to you now about your singing. When did you start singing? Because you have a beautiful voice. In high school, and was it something?
Actually, no. It was my senior year of college that we figured out that I could sort of sing, carry a tune.
Okay.
We used to go to this karaoke bar in Oklahoma City, Don Quixote's, every Wednesday, and then people were
shout out to Oklahoma City.
And people started giving money to the KJ or the whatever DJ for him to let me sing, especially Sinatra. Yeah, and so I started singing lots of Sinatra. My way.
My favorite. That's your big song. That's right. That's your big song. Brooks Decker joined us. Hi, Brooks. Catherine Salvio. Hi, Catherine. Johnny Tamaro. Dana Joel Nicholson, my neighbor. I love Dana. He set up my cable this week. Thank you, Dana. He's so sweet. Also, speaking of DJs and karaoke, if you are looking, Dana, my neighbor, has a great karaoke setup, like a serious karaoke setup. If you have a club or you're having parties, whether you're in Jersey or in New York, and you want, I guess they call them KJs, right? Yeah. Get in touch with Dana Joel Nicholson. He's your guy, and he will come. He does private parties. He works in clubs, all kinds of stuff. He's got the whole great setup talking about that. So, all right, Judy, let's segue over to you and talk about some of the really important things that are happening right now. So we want to start with okay, so the reason we're doing this is because the more we know in life, the more we have freedom and the more we can make decisions for ourselves. So a lot is happening right now, right? So we want to talk about midterm elections.
Okay.
So go ahead. You start.
All right. So it's very important, first of all, before I talk about the midterm elections, that we know that we get our news from places other than Facebook. I'll give a perfect, or other than just one source. Mm-hmm. So it could be just Facebook, just CNN, just Fox News, just MSNBC. You should get your news from, a plethora of sources just so that you can fact check.
Right,
that's really just it. And then if you hear a story or, I happen to be a Democrat, but I am aware of sometimes I notice words that, the leaning left news media uses to pump up their base. But now, because I'm so really just concerned for the well-being of our country, I really don't just listen to one side or the other. I really just want facts.
Yeah, me too.
So it's very important to always check, if you're inclined to really understand what's going on in the country and really care about your neighbor and so on and so forth, then you always fact check all of,
and there are many sides to different, many sides to different stories. It's important to get different perspectives. That's how I've educated myself. What I usually do is I mean, I get the New York Times delivered every day, and I love my New York Times. I also read a lot, like Time Magazine, and I start with MSNBC, then I go to CNN, and I will go over to Fox News and see what they're saying, even though I'm not a fan of theirs. But I want to see what everybody is saying, and then I kind of make a decision somewhere in the middle, or I try to educate myself more, things like that. And we talk a lot. Judy has educated me so much on politics. There was a lot of stuff that I just didn't have the facts. And so she's always like, no, tonight I just want to present facts. So go ahead, give us some of the facts that you have.
Okay. So first off, politics is all about money. Okay. So if you live in Alabama, you are going to hear a rhetoric that is going to benefit the people running that state. So if you live in New Jersey, you're going to hear a rhetoric about people, that benefit the people that run that state. So you have to make a moral judgment on what you want to vote for and what's important to you and your family, right? So I'm going to put out there, coal mining, just to put it out there, right? It's very big in some parts of the country. I'm going to compare it to not having cars and driving around in carriages. That doesn't happen anymore, right? Everybody, for the most part, drives a car. So I just want to make it important. You can't focus on, I want my coal job. It's extinct, like dinosaurs. Yes, there may be some parts of the country that will still have those kinds of jobs, absolutely. But you really have to, obsolete, thank you. But you really have to not vote just because someone says that they're going to give you a coal mining job. Because most likely the possibilities of that actually happening are zero to none. Right.
Well, let me just stop for a second. A lot of people think a lot of this is because of automation has evolved. I mean, it's just all evolved. It has nothing to do with whether you're a great coal miner or hardworking. It's not about that. So a lot of this is very important that we, things have evolved to different levels. Because I'm all about the blue collar worker. I come from blue collar people. So I always lean towards that. Always. I will always lean towards the blue collar worker.
Okay.
So quickly, just a shout out to Kelly Brewer. Happy birthday, Kelly. Let's join in.
Happy birthday, Kelly. Thank you for joining in. So let's take a minute. Kelly says Americans have become complacent, and that's why we're in the state we are in. Thank you for saying that. Alex Rusin, it's been devastating to watch the business being twisted.
The message,
the diversity, education, and inclusion are the way forward. Love from Canada. Thank you, Alex from Canada.
Hi.
Catherine, Department of Justice wants to sue California for their sanctuary state. Breaking nightly news. Okay.
Right. All right. So let's talk about midterm elections and what's happening. So states that are up for re-election. So there's more Democrats up for re-election than Republicans. That's not necessarily bad. A lot of these states tend to lean Democrat. So most likely we'll be able to keep those seats. Of course, I would personally like to see some flipped seats, but so let's start with Arizona. Jeff Flake is the incumbent. He is a Republican, but he's a good Republican. He's a good Republican. Yeah. He wrote a book.
There's a lot of good Republicans.
He wrote a book about, I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of like The Art of Conservatism or something like that. He has been against Trump on many of Trump's legislations, and he has not supported them. So, Arizona tends to lean Republican. And just a little tidbit that I put in these notes, Arizona voted 49% for Trump and 45% for Hillary. So it's just a 4% difference.
Right, very close. Which is a pretty good representation of the whole country. If something leans one way or the other way too much, I like a well-rounded state, something that then you get a better idea of what people vote the way they vote for many reasons. Like when I was growing up, we were Democrats, my family was Democrats, but we had so many Republican friends, it was not an issue. And when I was in high school, Reagan was the president. He wasn't the enemy. There was a lot of even the Bush Senior, he wasn't the enemy. It wasn't the way it is now, where it's so damn divided. I mean, there was a country, and we all were proud to be Americans.
You respected the president.
You
the office
respect.
of the
That's
president.
it.
Well, because the president respected his work.
Right.
True,
his
but
office.
Obama did, and people didn't respect Obama. It wasn't.
Well,
just,
I mean,
yeah.
That's just
a
a.
race issue. That's
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that's so much.
I mean,
Florida.
Okay.
So Florida has a Democratic senator right now. His name is Bill Nelson, and Florida is one of those states. I mean, as far back as I can remember, Al Gore. Florida is everywhere because the south of Florida is, there is a lot of diversity in the south of Florida, and they, Dade County, even I think Broward County, if I'm not mistaken, which is also the south of Florida, tend to vote, Democrat, and so does Palm Beach County, if I'm not mistaken. But then the north of Florida is a completely different state.
Right,
It's
right. Well,
very
it's a pretty big state. It covers a lot of territory, so you're going to get a lot of different people.
Right. So the governor of Florida is Rick Scott, and he's a Republican, and he is, I think, maybe throwing his hat in the ring and running against Bill Nelson, which is the Democrat. Now, Florida, Donald Trump won Florida by 1%, 49 to 48.
Wow.
So that, they tend to lean Democrat when it comes to the Senate race. Or to these midterm elections, but I would say it's a toss-up, especially because Rick Scott has deep pockets and he's popular.
But I think he's, the way he handled the whole shooting, I think he lost a lot of.
Well, I don't know because they did raise the age to 21,
True.
And they did put a ban on bump stocks, and we'll talk about that later. Okay, so the next one is Indiana. Okay. Indiana there's a Democratic senator, Joe Donnelly, and that's a toss-up state. They usually it's a toss-up. Sometimes they go Republican, sometimes Democrat. 57 to 38 in the presidential election. 57% going to Trump. Missouri, there is a Democrat, Claire McCaskill. Mm-hmm. It's a toss-up. 57 to 38 going to Trump in the election. She did not support the tax plan, and Trump. Trump pressed her to vote. Trump did a whole thing there in Missouri and was pressuring his base to vote her out.
Okay, now I want to stop for a second. Catherine Salvio says she calls Marco Rubio's office almost every day. Catherine is in Florida.
She's from New York.
She's from New York originally, and she moved to Florida. Now, this is very important that you call your elected officials. I mean, I know I call mine, but mine are great. I mean, I get along with them great. Adriana Espaillat, Chuck Schumer, and Kristen Gillibrand, who I love. So these are, I mean, I voted for them, so it's easy. But it's very important if you're in a state where still call your senators, whether you voted them or congressmen, you voted for them or not. They need to hear from you. They are representing you. That's why you have to remember, we the people. That was in the Declaration of Independence. We the people. So that's us. So who you see there in Congress and the House, they represent you. But if you do nothing,
if you don't vote
and you do not let them know how you feel, you don't have a voice. So you have to have a voice. Doesn't mean you have to act crazy. It just means you have to have a voice. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what else we got?
Montana, Joe Testa is a Democrat. That state also went to Trump in the election, but it tends to lean Democrat in these.
And what state is that?
Election. Montana.
Okay.
Nevada there's a Republican right now. Hillary won that state, and it's Dean Helter. It's becoming less and less red, actually, Nevada. So less Republican. So it's a toss-up right now. Nevada's a toss-up. We can definitely, we might be, or I say we because I'm a Democrat, might be able to turn that seat. North Dakota has a Democrat, Heidi Heitkamp.
I'm shocked because, North Dakota is predominantly men. Did you know that there's something like 7 men to every 1 woman?
Yeah.
It's almost like
I was
Alaska.
going to say 10 to 2 or something.
It's crazy. Maybe it is that. It's crazy. So the fact that, listen, hey, Juan, anything can happen, Juan. They might need you up there.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so that's a toss-up. She's a Democrat. She supported Neil Gorsuch, which was the Supreme Court nominee for that Donald Trump. But then but then I think she was against his one of his other big bills, and so the person that's running against her is Republican Kevin Cramer, who's not a Republican favorite because he tends to be unscripted a lot, and they can't really control him.
Yeah,
So
they
yeah.
say okay, so they can't keep him on a short leash.
I wanted to say too, there's 34 seats up for re-election.
So let's take a minute. How many more you got there? A lot more. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
let's
let me
take a
just run
break.
down:
Okay.
Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota,
Wow.
New Jersey, Tennessee, and Texas,
When did
which
these
actually
all,
is holding a primary election today.
Okay, so when did these all happen?
November.
All in November.
The primary
is
is happening now in Texas, and they're trying to unseat Cruz. He's not popular, and either.
Although I don't know if that's going to happen. However, so now we are in March. So you have, whatever. You have a few months to build momentum. Just read up. That's all. Educate yourself. That's all we can ask in this country. That we, the people, educate ourselves. That's all it is. Because I really want to stay away from blaming each other, because we need to come together. We need to come together as a country. We are one country. We should love our flag. We should love our country, and we should love each other. And people that come here from other countries, my family, Juan, Judy, and almost every one of you, unless you're an American Indian, your parents came from somewhere else. We need to really get along. I have been so moved by these kids in Florida, these young, beautiful kids. I mean, every time we watch them, we get emotional. I am so proud of these kids. They really have just lit a fire here. They're finally saying, somebody do something. And if a child would come up to me, I'm a teacher, and would say, please, Miss Maria, help me, do something. Oh my God, of course I would. I wouldn't say, you know what? I've checked.
I would help you if I thought it would make a difference.
Right.
Which is what Marco Rubio said.
Oh my God.
I would
That's
help
it.
you if I thought
it would make a difference. So we really want to just see positive things happen. That's all this is
just
about.
add that to
Please,
Maria. Even if I'm not a citizen, so I can't vote, but I think it is still very important to be educated and to speak out and to get involved, participate, because you are part of the conversation. Whether you have a vote or not, you still need to know what's going on. Right. Educate yourself. Get out there. It's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I always forget this phrase, but it's think locally, and act globally. And that's actually, that really
vote. Also, they say vote locally, act globally.
Yeah, it's very important to vote in every single election.
Right.
Starting from your just every single election, because states, that's how you build a government. That's how you build a strong government. Right. If you just stay home on voting day, the people that are going to win are the people that have the money.
Yeah,
Their voice is not heard.
Right. It's very important. And the thing is, we can be like, I'm going to agree with some things and not agree with everything in my party. It's okay to be like, I'm right in the middle there. It's okay to just be, but leave your head and your heart open. Let's not be so closed that we don't talk to each other. That's what I think. We just need to come together again. So hi, Brad Lacey, you just joined us, Dr. Brad Lacey.
Hi, Adriana.
Adriana, your sister is here. Hi, Adriana, we were talking about you earlier. All right, so now we have so much to cover. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Catherine, you said she's not a good Democrat?
Who's that?
Who's not a good Democrat?
I don't know. Be specific. Okay, maybe she's talking about I don't know, but let's not focus on that right now. So let's okay, so I want you to talk about DACA for a reason, because you taught me something tonight that I did not know about DACA. It is not funded. Tell me what you said.
Okay. So DACA stands for Deferred Action for Children, for children's arrival. Okay. So the big issue when Obama made, first of all, DACA started in 2001. So it was
Bush, right?
That's when it began.
So it was 2001. So it was under Bush.
And Juan, if you want to jump in here, please jump in here, because I know we can talk a lot.
Exactly.
So just jump in there.
So it kept getting pushed back because people didn't know what to do with it. That's all. It's not that it was a big deal. It actually is not a big deal. It's been made a big deal because the purpose of, I guess I would say the purpose of politics is to divide and conquer.
Well, that's not a leader. that
No, well, I'm just
a
saying,
good leader will not divide.
right? A good leader and
Brings people together.
a secure leader will not divide and conquer.
Right.
But
A
the purpose,
dictator divides and conquers.
the purpose of politics as of late is to divide and conquer. DACA is not actually something that we should even be discussing. It was started in 2001 by a Republican president, or he was the first one to initiate some type of action, and then it kept deferring because then we had 9/11, a whole bunch of things happened that it kept being put on the back burner, and all of a sudden someone shed this light on it, like if it was a big deal that we had to do something about immigration. Now, 2001, it's now 2018, it's 17 years later. These people, these children that came in when they were 2, when they were 1, or when they were 15
right,
are
like
now 17 or are now 33, whatever age. They've lived their entire life here,
and they have contributed,
and
they have contributed to.
By the way,
our
to be able to even be considered for an application for DACA, you have to. There's certain requirements, strict requirements that you have to meet. You cannot obviously have any type of felony or any type of misdemeanors on your record. You have to have entered the country before you were 16. You have to pay $500 or $495 to be exact for an application fee. Then you have to renew it every year, and it's $575 every time you $495 every time you renew it. And if you want to leave the country for any reason and you are under DACA, that protection, you have to pay $575 for that application.
Okay, so you're saying, you told me earlier that this funds itself.
So DACA, so the whole big deal now in 2014 when Obama signed an executive order saying that's it, these people are going to be safe, is that the Congress, remember it was an opposing party held Congress, said that he did not have the power to override immigration laws. And they are correct. He did not. And by signing an executive order, he basically overrode Congress, right? Because they weren't taking any action, and he was just like, well, this is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they made a big stink about it. However, Congress does not have the power to defund DACA because DACA is not funded by the government. It is funded entirely by their applications.
I didn't know this until today. So I learned something today, right before our show.
Yeah.
So DACA is not ripping money from our government that could be going to soldiers, that could be going to schools. It's funding itself. So this is just being used as a tool. And if you're falling for this, you are being fooled. So do not be fooled. Leave your eyes and your ears open.
Now, by the way, these kids that fall under that umbrella, they literally are extremely productive. You can call them American, whether they're citizens or not, because they've lived here all their life and they've contributed. They have good jobs. They have good grades. By the way, one of the requirements, they have to have finished high school. They have gone to college. Oh, by the way, guess what? DACA recipients have served in the military. They have defended their right to be able to live here, and now they're being thrown away. So yes, we'll accept you, DACA recipient, to work and maybe possibly die for our country. But now that you're home, you can leave, and we don't want you here. That's not the way that that's not what we were founded on.
That's not who we are.
So these are the facts too. This is not even something I'm making up. They literally, I can be a DACA recipient and sign up for the army and be in Iraq right now, defending your right to tell me that I have to get out.
Right.
So,
all right, I'm going to stop you right there. That's a really powerful point. Okay, we literally are like, the time is flying by. So we're going to take a second. We're going to talk about our food. Yes, it's flying by. We're going to talk about our food because we have hit this. That segment of our show, by the way, Judy is our political commentator. Is called Just the Facts. So that's Just the Facts, man, because we're trying to present facts. Judy's presenting facts, and so she is. And somebody said she should run for office. I always say that. Judy
said that.
I think it was Leo said that Judy should run for office.
Oh.
Judy knows her stuff. Yes, and it would be great to have you in office, Judy. I hope someday you do run for office. Okay, so let's take a second. Juan, would you please pass us our delicious Colombian food?
Sure.
Yum.
It smells so good. I can't wait to eat it. Okay, so. Do you want to describe what this is? Well, let's hold it. I'll hold it up, and you guys.
Describe.
Juan, you are the Colombian here.
So we have here probably the most typical Colombian dish is called bandeja paisa, which basically translates to paisa tray. And it's actually from my region of the country, but it's called a tray because
but Judy said paisa means like neighbor or a friend.
Well, paisa is actually what
Like
they call
paisan?
the people from my state, my home state, my region. So it's like, basically the equivalent like a Yankee.
Oh my God, it smells so
over
good.
here. So it's called a tray because literally you're looking at a tray of food.
You brought the beans.
Oh,
and the
sorry.
beans. The beans are coming now. Judy, maybe you can model the beans.
Hold the beans.
But be careful they don't. Okay.
So this is not for the faint of heart.
No. Oh my God.
So traditionally you have red beans, you have rice because we always have to have rice.
I love it. I love rice.
Always. I mean, rice 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Literally. We have
It's like Italians with pasta.
Chicharrón, which is pork belly. It's basically bacon that is
Literally
bacon.
delicious.
It's
Oh my God.
one of the best things ever. We have chorizo, which is sausage.
Hot and spicy,
This
right?
one. No, it's not
It's
spicy.
I
Colombian
love
sausage.
Colombian food. I can't wait to eat this. I'm
It's
going
just,
crazy. Going crazy. Hold on. You think I'm joking? My mouth is watering.
And then we have the steak, and there's 2 versions. You can do ground beef, or you can do the bistec.
What is this called? I love this. Is what I prefer.
Bistec. Yeah, this is the bistec.
Oh my God.
And then
What's this thing on the end here?
well, that's an arepa, which is basically a corn dough,
Yep.
bread, sort of thicker type of tortilla.
Delish.
And then because everything is better with an egg on top,
Why
you
not?
have to have the egg.
And the plantains.
Oh, I'm sorry, the plantains, which are amazing. Maduros, you call them.
And maduros means like soft, right? If something is maduro, it's like ripe.
Correct.
Okay. I love maduros.
There's actually a funny story about maduros. When we were little back at home, my sisters and I used to count to make sure that we each got the same amount.
Oh my God! I used to do that too.
Yeah.
Oh really?
I think it's because it's the most delicious part of
And
the
it's
meal.
sweet.
So
It's
like,
sweet,
wait,
it's soft,
it's so
it's so-
delicious.
Oh
I think
my God.
I probably used to steal some. By the way, my aunt never made it on because she doesn't know, but I'm going to talk about her anyway because
Yeah,
then
we're
I'll
going
tag
to
her.
share it on her page. Then we want to talk about her
Literally
desserts.
the best cook on the planet.
And Gladys, yeah.
The best cook, Tia. La comida tuya es deliciosa. And I used to steal the plantains when she used to make them. So she used to make them and squash them and then put them on the plate to serve on the table. And then I used to walk by the kitchen and be like, and grab one and run away. And
That's
eat
my
it.
favorite part of any Spanish.
And then she'd be like, I
food
could have
is
sworn
the-
I already had like 4 or 5 plantains. Oh, maybe I didn't. Oh, I'll make another one. And literally it would go on for like 2 hours before she noticed. And I would do it so much and she wouldn't get it. She'd be like, you did it again. It's like delicious.
Maduro.
Yeah,
So,
my
yeah.
mom would literally have to slice a whole plantain for each of us. And even though we knew that,
Well, you're big kids
We had-
too, though. Your sisters are
Sure,
tall.
that's
I mean,
true.
you're not
we had
little.
to count.
Delicious.
But I always got more because I'm the baby. And the
Yes,
only
that's
boy,
right.
so-
Juan is the baby. We love him. Juan is so cute. Oh my God, he's such a good guy. And he always smells delicious, by the way. Juan smells delicious.
Juan Gil.
Okay, let's grab our desserts too. Not the ones you brought from the restaurants. Get the other ones the Cuban pastries. But Juan also brought us delicious. Okay, so Judy, will you please describe the Cuban pastries?
This is guava and cheese pastries, which is a Cuban delicacy.
Yeah, because I never heard of
Delicious.
guava.
What?
Yeah,
I
so
literally
bet
asked-
you.
I eat guava from the whole, the guava.
Mhm.
It's
So it's like a paste.
a paste.
Well, it's a fruit.
It's a fruit.
It's a fruit. But we don't have. I don't even know what guava looks like.
It's a
It looks like a
green,
kiwi, right? A
round-
little bit?
No, it's probably the size of a
Size of
kiwi,
kiwi?
but
Yeah.
it has this hard
Yum.
So good.
exterior
So
and a
good.
red
Really
thing.
sweet.
I
really sweet.
love it.
So
I
this
eat
is
the whole
guava
paste.
with like phyllo dough
Yeah, and cream cheese.
and cream
You
cheese.
call it
Okay.
pasteles?
Yeah, pastelito de guayaba y queso.
And they have pastelitos de rey too, right?
No,
Pastelitos.
that's empanadas.
Oh,
That's
empanadas. Okay, but then that's Dominican, right?
Everybody has.
Yeah, as a matter of
love it.
fact, you guys have them really good.
All right, so that is our food for tonight. I can't wait to eat it. And Juan also brought delicious desserts from his restaurant. And Juan, thank you for doing that. Juan always brings me food. That is the way to my heart, by the
Sauce
way.
and barrel. Come see me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. plug
Yes,
it.
you want to talk about because you have worked and you have managed. You are like the managing guy. You
Actually,
can bring a
Juan is
creative-
literally the best. I worked for him actually.
All right.
I forgot about that. And you.
Anyway.
And what happened? You have
And
to
you worked
fire
for
her?
She got me the first job in the industry.
Right. So I got him the first
Full
bartending
circle.
job. What did they used to call me at the bar, Juan? What did they used to call me?
Fidel.
Remember?
Fidel, because she was like a dictator.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a lot.
I'm Cuban.
She's very, like the cleaning thing.
Mother Burger.
Yep.
So
they
you
used to-
hired Juan, and then
We've
Juan
come a
later
long
on
way.
hired you.
So yeah, I hired Juan, and then Juan hired me many
Oh my
years
God.
later. Yeah, I was going to tell the exit story, but I think I'll leave the exit story out.
That's Bronco.
Darcy Blakesley has joined us. Hi, Darcy. Rory Taggart from Canada has joined us.
Hi, Rory.
Darcy is out in California.
Hi, Darcy.
We love Darcy. So much we love
He
California.
isn't little anymore, your sister said.
No, he isn't, but he's still little to us.
The best
To
he
me,
is.
he's
He
still
is
a
the
little
best.
guy. He is the best. Juan's wonderful. So Juan,
I
you
need to start
manage.
coming more often.
You have to.
Leaving so
Oh my
happy
God.
over here.
I know, right? But you manage restaurants, and that's something that you're really good at. You're really good with people. Not only are you a numbers guy, but you're really good with people.
Well,
Yeah.
it's one of
People
those
love you,
things.
Juan.
I feel very lucky in that sense because I moved to New York for accounting. I hated it. I mean, I only took the job because it meant coming to New York, and then just randomly, really, the economy was so bad during the recession. I couldn't find anything else in the field, and Judy was like, "Why don't you come? Work with me."
But you're a
this-
finance person too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I majored in accounting and finance. I hate accounting. I hated accounting, and I'm so glad that I'm like I'm weird though. Like I'm like I think I'm going to be like a forever student. I'm that kind of person.
Well, you like to educate yourself.
So I'm
That's
glad.
why you're a nerd.
Better you than
Yeah,
me.
I'm glad
Yeah.
that at the end I added finance because then first of all I felt less stupid because it's easier for me. It was easier
Finance.
than accounting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh,
Well, there's
I
always
think I
work in
like
finance,
this more.
though. Always.
Yeah, but
Always.
actually I ended up leaving. And I didn't do that because really I think my
But you
strength
have
is
your
in
own
sales.
consulting company, right?
Yeah, my strength is definitely in sales, and that's what I do. And now I love economics, but that's just because I want to do research on how political parties and their policies affect economics, and I love it.
She loves it. She
I
loves it.
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Judy researches things for the sake of researching things. Like
No, as soon as something happens on television that I
she
see,
has
or
to look everything
right
up.
away. Well, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's a show, I love documentaries.
But you love research. You've always been that.
Yeah.
But didn't you think about for a while going into statistics?
Yeah, but I just think it's too hard.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not gonna.
All right. So let me see. We have a few more things quickly. Should we save them for another show, or should we hit midterm? Or like we hit this? What else? we
Really
have?
quick, I just want to hit a little bit on gun control. So ever since the Parkland shooting, the governor of Oregon, she's a Democrat, her name is Kate Brown, and she passed a really good, which I think is a common sense gun law. No guns out of domestic abusers, and guns out of people that ever have had a restraining order.
Well, duh. I mean, why
I
would
know.
this ever be a problem?
We would think duh, but
I mean,
it's a big. The NRA wants zero gun laws.
but
Now wait, I want to go really
that doesn't
quick.
mean. Listen, I want to
Those
throw
people
this
that
in.
don't fly
I want to
lists,
throw this
they
in.
get a gun.
My
Right.
cousins are hunters, and
Right.
they're great hunters. They should. They're great guys. They have never had any arrests. They're wonderful people. Yes, those are people that should have guns. If my Uncle Nicky was a marksman, these are people. I have so many friends in the NYPD and that are soldiers, and that yes, absolutely, people should be able. If I have a restaurant, I want to protect myself. If I live in a house in the woods and I want to, of course, no one is debating that. What people are debating is mentally ill people or violent people.
Or people on the no-fly
Oh,
list.
fly zone, terror, anybody that's a suspected, all these people have been suspected at one point. Stop right there. Okay. Put everybody, you don't get a gun. You don't get it.
And just to preface all of that, gun control has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. It's literally a rhetoric. It really has nothing to do
Well, it's
with
a
the
divide and
It's just
conquer.
about-
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. Gun control only has to do with the NRA and the money. that they have.
Right.
That is it. There is no reason for not allowing common sense gun laws. There's zero reason for it. So I just want to say really quick for Florida, what they've done. By the way, they had in their new law, that the bill that just passed, they did have a provision to arm teachers, but there was an uproar and they ended up taking that provision out. But they did leave that they could have voluntarily armed marshals. So if all three of us are teachers in Florida and I decide I don't want to teach English, instead I want to be a voluntarily armed marshal to protect this school, they will let me.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. There were 4 armed people at that school. 4.
Right.
Trained gunmen. They did not.
Right. They ran out.
They ran out. Not in. So
ran
let
out
me tell you something. I am a teacher. Do not give me a gun. I am not a person that should ever have a gun.
No.
I am Italian. No, I don't want one. I don't want one.
I don't
want one. But what I'm saying is people that are armed to protect us should protect us. And they're great at what they do. But even they ran out. Okay. So please stop with this ridiculousness.
So the good news is that they did increase the age to 21.
Yay.
And
Wonderful.
they did put a ban on bump stocks.
Yay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Florida, for doing the minimum.
Wonderful.
But thank you.
But that's okay. It's a start.
Yes, it's definitely a start.
That's
now,
all.
really quick, I want to say this. Another rhetoric is that states that have stricter gun laws do not, it doesn't make a difference with their gun violence. A fallacy, 100% fallacy. I'm going to give you the top 10 states with the top strictest gun laws: California, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Hawaii, Maryland, Rhode Island, Washington, and Minnesota. And they rank in the bottom 40. So from 40 down, California is 43, New Jersey's 45 in gun deaths.
Gun deaths.
Okay.
And New York is so
New York is
populated.
48. So out of 50 states, New York is ranked 48 in gun deaths. Okay. And New York, New York City is so, I think New York City has probably more people than the entire state of like maybe Vermont. Like, would you?
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
Sure.
Okay.
8 million. I think it's 8 million people.
So now the loosest,
registered,
right.
The loosest gun law states are Vermont, Kentucky, Louisiana, Alaska, Wyoming, Idaho, Arizona, Kansas, Mississippi, and Missouri.
Okay.
And most of them are in the top 20 in gun deaths. Most of them, except for Kansas, which is 31, and Vermont, which is 38.
Well, Vermont, these are mostly hunters. See, so these are people that, Vermont, you're in the outdoors. There is a difference. If that is your thing, wonderful. Be a responsible person, go and register. You want to go and get a gun and hunt, good for you.
Unless you're Dick Cheney.
Well, right. Dick Cheney should not be hunting. Didn't he shoot his best friend in the face or something? Right. Thank you, Juan. No, Dick. If you're a dick, Dick, put your gun down. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Put your dick away. Dick. If you're a dick, put your gun down. Thank you. That's it. That's it. So that's what we want to put that out there. We're not trying to strip wonderful people that know what they're doing. Stop it. We just want to get the crazy people away from that. Okay? Because listen, a crazy person shouldn't have a shoe to hit someone with. Or okay? You don't give them. You wouldn't give stop it. It's like the guy said. Some guy wrote this meme that said, "If my kid was hitting another kid with a stick, I wouldn't give all the kids in the playground a stick. I would take that stick away from my kid." That's it. Bottom line. Mm-hmm. So we have about really quick. We have to wrap it up.
What do we have? 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Quick. So 3 minutes. Very important. The Affordable Health Care Act. I want you to know 2 very important things. The Affordable Health Care Act is not funded entirely by federal government. It's funded by both federal and state government. So I want you to know the top 10 states that bleed most of the federal aid that goes to the Affordable Care Act. And those states are Louisiana, North Carolina, Arizona, South Carolina, Indiana, Florida, Marco Rubio, Oklahoma, Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee.
All red states.
All red states.
So they are taking the most out of the government for the
federal funding now. Federal funding. Right. Okay. So now,
not what they call your liberal states.
Right. The liberal states, guess who funds most of their Affordable Health Care Act?
Right.
The state. The
blue
state.
States. So name those states.
So those states are Vermont, Hawaii, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Alaska, Yeah, Alaska, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, and Rhode Island.
Okay.
Alaska is the only red state, but you have to remember there's like 5 people that live in Alaska. So I mean,
and most of them
And
are the
most of
Palins.
Palins.
right. So it's easy to fund whatever. I mean,
keep them far away.
free college for everybody. I mean, there's literally, a population of like what?
Yeah, I know. All right, so we want to thank, because we're coming to the end of our show, we want to thank Judy Mesa, our political commentator, and she is so knowledgeable. Thank you so much, because I learned a lot. And it's just important to know all these things, because I think the more we know, the more we'll stop fighting. That's all it is. Jimmy, how much time do we have?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. I want to end with this. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. Among those rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. God bless you. God bless America. We love you. Thank you, Juan. Thank you, Judy. We'll see you next week. Thank you,
Bye.
Jimmy. Bye.